Y'all know who it is. And I'm back again with a personal shout-out review for one of my subscribers who has been a long-time friend with mine for many, many years now. Baby Mammoth, he requested this review of Bad Influence from 1990, starring James Spader and Rob Lowe. As we all know, that during the 1980s, Rob Lowe and James Spader were kind of that brat pack of doing a lot of John Hughes' films and these pretty teenagers who were up and coming. This movie was kind of in the rise of the early 90s of the erotic thriller, of the neo-noir thriller. This film was part of the roles of these guys transitioning from that brat pack image to young adults. And because James Spader is basically like a data analyst, I don't know how you say it, and you know, he gets bullied by his co-workers and they kind of take advantage of him and they challenge him and he backs down and he's very passive aggressive and doesn't say anything about it. He's having like physical health problems because of the bullying that's basically going on in his work environment. And you know, one day he walks into a bar after he kind of is depressed about his co-worker stealing one of his files for this big job offer that they have in his company. And he basically gets accosted by some woman's boyfriend who's basically Kurt Russell, Patrick Swayze, and Mel Gibson's stunt double, slams his head into the bar, and then Rob Lowe pops up as this mysterious stranger who puts this guy in his place. And from then on, James Spader's path into the dark side of the human spirit begins. The film really has a lot of noir kind of elements to it, where it really takes advantage of like the underbelly of the LA scene, kind of with streets that are really wet at night, and then you get like these very strong colors, like very strong blues and these strong whites, and also you get like a lot of scenes of characters in silhouette and shadow with strong hard lighting that comes through the windows up in the background. It's very well lit. I love the way this film looks, and it really takes you into this kind of mysterious dark world that James Spader is about to become a part of. I also like that this was also too, because it was the early 90s, you know, there was the rise of kind of the techno music and things like that. So you've got all these scenes where like as they're going into the underbelly of clubs, you hear like all this kind of weird techno jazz kind of motifs throughout the movie, and it really gets a feel of this very seductive kind of alluring underbelly that is more and more pulling Spader's character into Rob Lowe's world. What I love about it is this movie has a really cool take on kind of when you're a character or a person that has no boundaries within your life, and how it kind of affects your overall being. Just your posture, your everyday, how you behave in your personal life, in your work. I mean, like, he doesn't feel like he's ready to get married to his fiancée. That's because he's getting bullied at his job. He's not feeling good about himself. He's having health problems. And it's kind of like Rob Lowe. Rob Lowe is basically like his id. You know what I mean? He's all the impulses. He's all just those primitive drives within us as human beings that we want to go after. And what he does to Spader is he encourages him to embrace your id and go full on all the way. There's a great scene in the bar where, you know, James Spader is kind of, you know, complaining to Rob Lowe about how his co-worker took his, he took some files from him and he passed them off as his. You know, and James Spader wasn't, at this point in the movie, able to get this job that he wanted within his company. He's really pissed about it. So he's telling Rob Lowe about it. And Rob Lowe is basically saying, like, look, bruh, he did you like that because he knows he can do you like that. And he know you ain't going to stick up for yourself. So Rob Lowe coaxes him into saying cheers to his work bully, you know. And James Spader kind of meekly goes, oh, yeah, cheers to whatever the guy's name was. And Rob Lowe says, whoa, 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 whoa. That's your enemy, man. You don't give no props to your enemy. You stomp your enemy down and crush him immediately. That's what you do to your enemy. Don't be friends with him, man. What's wrong with you? You know? And he really gets James Spader to just... And James Spader kind of gets a little... He gets a little teeth. He gets a little courage, sticks his chest out. And Rob Lowe says, that's what I want from you. I want you to walk around with that spirit all the time. And James Spader is such an excellent actor because I believe he did Jack's Back 2 years before this film, you know, where he played twins in that film. And he's such a good actor. He can play meek and cowardly and passive aggressive so well. And that transition that his character is making into going on full id, going for his darkest impulses, and just letting Rob Lowe take him on this dark journey. And Rob Lowe is very slick, seductive, and slimy in this. He is the very example of a pure sociopathic personality in the fact that he is so just alluring, and he's charming, and he's very disarming, like with his smile, you know, because Rob Lowe was, this is at the time when he was a very young man, you know, and he just he had that very just strong, alluring appeal to him, and with a slight bit of danger. And he very much is a narcissistic personality that is just completely all about serving his own needs. But part of the kick that he gets is that he's getting a narcissistic supply off of Spader, because he's getting something from taking Spader to his level and ultimately getting Spader involved in his game. Spader's just a toy for him, just like everybody else in his life. You know, he's just a toy for him. And that is the pure example of a narcissist. And in this case, a psychopath as well. And I do remember this is around the time when his tape was released. And I thought it's a really shame that this movie underperformed from what I read, because this is actually directed by Curtis Hansen, who directed 8 Mile. I believe he co-wrote some of Payback with Mel Gibson, don't quote me, and I think some of LA Confidential. I think, double check again, I think he directed LA Confidential. I'm sorry guys, but it's very well directed. It's written by David Cope, who like wrote The Lost World, and I believe he wrote some of the first Jurassic Park. Money, power, being able to handle yourself physically as a man. So this is almost like, I mean, when this movie was made, they didn't have concepts like toxic masculinity, but if you want to look no further than toxic masculinity, you'll watch Bad Influence right here. This is a prime example of toxic masculinity gone amok. Although I will say, I do agree with lots of things that Rob Lowe's character does, not the illegal things, but I will say kind of like that scene in the bar where he's talking to James Spader. I think that's a prime example of things that many men and women go through in their daily lives, especially at work, because you know at work you have to maintain composure, and you can't operate off your id, so to speak. And I love how the movie constantly catches you, it keeps you guessing, and you're enthralled with Rob Lowe's character, and you also want to know what he's going to do next. You're having fun with him, but also you're a little bit afraid of this dude too, because you don't know what he might be up to. It's a very well done movie, and I highly enjoyed it. I had seen pieces of it when I was a little kid, but obviously this movie came out I think when I was 8 or 9 years old, in the rise of the erotic thriller and all that, you know, A Prayer Before Dying, Dead Calm, Dead Again, you know, all those Hand That Rocks the Cradle, Single White Female. This is from that ilk of that early 90s thriller. I love the movie. I love all the music, the techno music in it, and especially I love this weird scene where Rob Lowe is like in a club, and it's got a really good camera angle of him. He's eyeing this couple while he's with his chick, and there's like these kind of fluorescent light bulbs, and it's cutting between each movement of the fluorescent light bulb, and you see Rob Lowe, he's got this real cool look on his face, looking across the bar at this couple. It's a very well done shot. I absolutely love it. But you know, Bad Influence is it's just it's a very well done neo-noir thriller. If you have any more questions about erotic thrillers, or if you don't like them, why don't you just go ahead and watch The Bridges of Madison County? Keep those requests coming, and I'll be back with you all soon.